Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
EGBA. So we are going to have 5 speakers discussion, and the topic is understanding the self-mastery. So herewith I request Mandaza, can you please unmute, please? Okay. Anyway, so self-mastery is the only mastery in the world. We may have different arts, different sciences in the world, the social reality. In the spiritual reality, there is only one art and one science, that is self-mastery. The removing the mind is called as self-mastery, and connecting the spirit. To be only in body and spirit is called as awakening, bypassing the mind, bypassing all its patterns, all its propensities, all its inclinations. Put together, we are calling it as self-mastery. So herewith, I would like to listen from Meredith Beal about your opinions, your perspective, as per your experience of life, your practices of spirituality. What is this self-mastery all about? And what would be your message from the very life that you have been through? Over to Meredith, please.
In my experience, it has been the endeavor, striving to overcome yourself.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Ici, ça veut dire que tu as coupé ma voix.
Yes. I will mute everyone who's unmuted.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can carry on, Meredith.
Yeah, the biggest struggle is to the struggle over self. That is the mastery of the self in the sense of becoming the master of your own mind, as opposed to letting the external world or the people around you be the determinant factor of your direction. And you know, from childhood, you know, I was fortunate that I grew up in a family that was loving, robust, and was spiritual, and also found education important. My grandmother's older sister was the first Black woman from Texas to receive a PhD and really set the tone. She also built a college in 1917. And then she talked about brains, the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, but the 3 B's, the brain, the body, and bringing up. That is the wholesomeness of the community that is necessary for a child, a young person, to grow healthily into a productive human being. Mastery over self, for me, is a discipline. So I found sources of discipline early in that I was able to, I was exposed to martial arts and the spirituality of being in rhythm, and the necessity of training oneself, one's body, one's mind. And I found that self-sacrifice to some extent helped me grow. It helped me not to be spoiled. And you know, that getting used to that constant challenge, I think, was helpful for me early. And then when in my teens, I tried meditation, Islam, Sufism, a number of religions, because I also was really focused on science. I was a chemist for many years, and in coming up, though I was brought up in a Christian family and really found the stories in the Bible very visual and moving to me, it was the laws of science, physics and chemistry which really enabled me to better explain to me the way the world worked. And in pursuing where science leaves off, that is, the human being, science can only explain so much. The human being, which is the universe in and of itself, is an infinite, unfathomable kind of reservoir of treasure and wisdom and just an infinite amount to gain from. So in my practice, after I did encounter Buddhism and looked at how me as both the source and the result of everything, taught me to look at myself for the cause and the effect of all of my problems and my solutions. So that, I think, independence helped me quite a bit in looking at the necessity for training myself for discipline and endeavoring to master my own mind.
Thank you, Meredith. Thanks a lot. Self-mastery happens from one's way of living, based upon our brought up, based upon our culture, based upon parenting, based upon our own traits and temperaments, based upon our own inclinations and propensities of mind. It's a unique pathway. But once we are arrived, once we are awakened and become consciousness personified, then we are all same. We awaken ourselves to the vision of oneness. When all the bits and pieces of consciousness is aligned, adhered, coalesced, and collaborated within, what is oneness within turns into unity outside. So Mandaza, the elder, the African elder, age-old, with all your age-old wisdom, I request you to present your views on self-mastery and how you would like to advise the people of the world about the importance of this self-mastery. Over to you, Mandaza, please. Unmute.
Powerful source of beautiful information.
Yes,
Yes. Nature. Spending hours in the forest, doing nothing, it helps a lot one to really grow well-disciplined. When one is in nature, you need to listen with the ears of your heart. You need to learn the languages that are spoken in nature. For one to learn the languages and spoken in nature, one has to surrender, to let go of all that I have learned in life and begin to take in new knowledge and new wisdom from Mother Nature. I've learned to stay with the street people myself. I've learned a lot in street kids' world. They are very united, those guys. The ones that we say have no respect. They are well organized together. They work together as a team. They don't allow even one single member of theirs to be in a challenge of his own. They come together. Like the ducks, the birds that live in the waters there, they live together like that. So I've been watching all these things happen in my life, and I've learned. This is why I joined the liberation struggle in my country. I wanted to see, to feel what it means to be oppressed. to participate in politics. During and after the political revolutions in my country, I decided to join the police force, which we were fighting against, which was the tool, the arm of operation. I became a policeman. I wanted to learn how they felt when they were abusing other people, how they mobilized, organized to suppress other people. I became one of them with the guidance and help of the politicians, the revolutionists. I became a very strong religious person in the Anglican Church. I participated heavily. Methodist Church, I participated heavily. American Methodist, I participated heavily. My spirits were taking me to those areas of learning. I was not aware of what I was doing. I was enjoying doing what I was doing. They have become the main subject of my teachings, spiritual teachings in the world, because I understand what goes on in politics. I understand what goes on in business, in industry. I understand what goes on the farms, on the land. But for one to be able to learn all those things, one must be well disciplined with the help of ancestors and great spirit, so that when we are sent, deployed into the world to go and talk about peace and healing, coming together as a people, we understand completely what we are doing, because I have walked the path of revolution, I've walked the path of peacemaking, I've walked the path of separating and finger pointing. I've done all that. But one is to be disciplined. For one to be able to accomplish all those tasks, one must be walking very closely with the spirit and ancestors for guidance and for protection as well. Because if you are joining the political revolutions, they may flush you out as a spy and you get into danger. But be disciplined, be politician, be everything. You become a master of yourself. Controlling oneself, listening to the inner voices that guide you, learning the language of the heart, and also learning the language of the mind, scientifically, spiritually, whatever it may be, is very important. So peoples of the world today have a lot to learn from themselves. A lot of good things, a lot of also of negative things, so that we'll be able to discern the good from the bad. I think this is the main reason why Christ went on to choose Judas Iscariot. Christ knew exactly the life story of Judas, but he selected him to be with him. Christ wanted to learn what it meant to exploit other people through Judas Iscariot. This is why Mahatma Gandhi had to work with the governments of the day and to work with the oppressed peoples of the world. He was being sent there to learn discipline, self-discipline. So I think as peacemakers and as healers, as medicine people, as spiritual people, we must study a lot about spirituality. We are only beginning in the world of spirituality. We need more time, more elders around us who have walked the path of spirituality. Like the way you are organizing us to come together at this conference. We are learning a lot from each other. And we see the loopholes, the potholes that must be renovated in human story. How to bring world peace will be not all that challenging if you yourself are widely exposed to life.
Yeah.
So my dear friends, I must say thank you so much indeed for what you have offered and what you are going to offer these 5 days. People who are being called by Spirit will attend the 5 days in full force, Papa, because they are aware of the need to create the spirit and world of oneness. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mandaza. Thank you, Mandaza Augustine, for all your elderly wisdom. Thank you very much. So here with I invite MAA Tejonayee. I have a question for you, Mataji. You are already a sadhak, a practitioner, a musician, a singer. You're a versatile personality. Any practice in the world is never difficult. But to be a practitioner appears to be difficult. Because to be a practitioner needs to hone up so many qualities of mind. It needs discipline, it needs consistency and so many things. So what are your views on this? Why a person who enters a certain practice gives up? And what should be the method, real method of becoming a consistent practitioner so as to become oneself? I would like to know your views on this.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this topic. Practice and practical. Okay, I think that, and yes, you said it, I'm a sadhak. I'm a sadhak, but I'm also a bhakta. I'm a sadhak because I practice daily, but most of all, I'm a bhakta, which means that I bring the devotion and the love everywhere I am, everywhere I go. And that's really the key. I keep on repeating myself. Love is the key. Practice is helping us to remember and to become again what we are. Because the distraction of the environment, that the so-called education we received has a tendency to cast us away from the real self. The previous topic was self-mastery, but the practice is just leading us to ourselves, to the self, should I say, the I. That's what practice is leading us back to, because we are that already. Some people don't even need to practice, as a matter of fact, because when we know the self, okay, and we become aware that we are pure consciousness, the practice is not that much needed, in fact. But maybe to, like a car, like an engine that you have to maintain. Practice is also maintenance. What was your question?
To be no practice in the world appears to be difficult, but to be a practitioner appears to be difficult. Why?
I don't see it as difficult, honestly speaking.
No,
I
no
don't
practice
see
is
that.
really difficult.
No,
But to
no
be,
practice is really difficult because it is
yes,
something
that's
you
what I'm
do.
saying. But to be a
Yes, but you're
practitioner,
perfectly,
please go ahead.
yeah, you're perfectly right. To practice something is actually not difficult. It just takes maybe a slight effort depending on your condition, physical, mental, emotional, your disposition of the day is, you know, making it, and then how you want to put the judgment into what you're doing because you're not used to do it. So you say, oh, I can't do it, right? But when you put your effort into it, and while doing it, the journey is just making it very easy to do. Now, being a sadhak, being a practitioner means regular, every day, maybe at the same time or around the same time. Like personally, I wake up normally wake up like at least 2-3 hours before the sunrise, right? You take a bath, yeah. You go into your practice, your rituals, your pranayama. I do the pranayama. I do the Kriya Yoga, basically. I'm a Kriya Yogini. I'm a Sun Yogini. I believe I'm from the Nat Sampradaya because I also received the you know, some of the practice of this, the Nat Sampradaya. And we do the Hatha Yoga, Kriya Hatha Yoga, Kriya Bhakti Yoga, Kriya Mantra Yoga, Kriya Kundalini Pranayam. But the Bhakti, you know, is, in my opinion, the one that is taking you beyond everything, because in the Bhakti, everything is there. The heart, you're giving it very naturally, very lovingly. Bhakti means again, devotion. So to be a practitioner might not be difficult. For example, I'm a practitioner and I don't find it difficult. And the only reason why I don't find it difficult is because I love what I'm doing. I just love it. I love to practice. I found it so pious, so holy, you know, and also the experiences. Because when you practice, it's like mathematics a little bit. It works. You do something and it works. So through, you know, you practice and then you grow. You grow, you have these experiences. You might not get attached to the experiences, but you still have them and you enjoy. So I just, I can say, I just love it. And I really encourage everybody to be a practitioner, because it's so wonderful, you know, to be able to enjoy what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
Now, you know, consciousness, like when you can decipher that you are that, actually, we are that, without any distinction or separation. I think that in the Western, or like say the so-called scientific world, pardon, excuse my French, Dr. Yugandhar, dear Dr. Yugandhar, but no, I think that there's a misinterpretation of what consciousness is. Consciousness is nothing like, it's not like the mental, right? Consciousness is something else. It's pure, it's truth. It's also memory. You know, the cells have consciousness, not only the brain, not only the heart, not only one separate organs. All our cells have and are consciousness. Because what we became through the ages is not something like you come out of mother's womb and you start, you know, singing, crying, whatever. What happens? There's a memory there. There is consciousness. And everything that we learn, practice and everything, it becomes like, it's something we know already, as a matter of fact. Consciousness again, yeah? Quantum, multidimensional, memories, family, ancestral, spiritual. I have memories of my, you know, some past incarnation as well. What we call incarnation means descend in the body. Yeah, and I keep this memory, this consciousness that I am is carrying on what I am. Like I am, because we conjugate, but in fact, the I am is pure truth, regardless of time or space. Now, what I was and what I will be, I am. You get my point? It's like, oh, but I'm the only one in my family practicing yoga, being a Kriya Yogini. Yeah, because in my past incarnation, I was that already. So I am that. Right? So we are incarnated souls. We come and go, but we still are always. All the rest is illusion, basically. Everything that is creating separation or contrast belongs to the realm of illusion. So, but I think one last small tip, I would say, or key to become or to be a practitioner is just do it. Do it to the extent of, how can I say that? Do it while you love it. You understand? When you do it, you enjoy it. Then your time is up, because you can't force yourself into something that your memory is not greeting with ease. So I would say, in other words, practice little by little or to your capacity. But you do it more regularly. Do it every day. It takes, I heard it is said that it takes 21 days or 30 days to acquire a habit. So just bring in these little things you want to change in your life, these little things you want to, install in your daily routine. Do a little by little, progressively, and then you will see that it'll just happen, just like, you've done it all your life. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you.
I think the challenge of being a practitioner is around consistency, and that is where the effort, the constant effort every day to summon the energy to do that. Like you said, if you love it, it's much easier. But whatever the endeavor, consistency, I think, is one of the biggest challenges in really being a consistent practitioner.
Yeah.
Oh, make it your own. Make it your own. You can adjust. You create your own truth. You're aware now. Everybody's, when you get to your awareness of that, your consciousness, and you do it, even if it's difficult, just make it your own. Twist it. Make it your own. Just twist it as you per your, add salt and pepper. I don't know what you do. Put sugar, honey. Just do it, but appropriate it for your own, your own self, so that you enjoy.
Well, I do enjoy now, but it's been almost 45 years, but getting there was, the challenge. As I said, being consistent.
Yeah, thank you, Meredith. Yeah, Yabka Dikoba, yeah, a question for you. People came from different cultures. During their childhood, they must have been exposed to different types of traumas because of the environment, because the environment they lived. Yeah. Maybe due to the parents, maybe because of the peers, maybe because of the society, whatever, because of neighborhood, relatives, whatever reasons. So to get awakened spiritually, all these karmic patterns, or whatever you call it, self-destroying traits, self-destroying traits and all, how to come out of all these things? What are your perspectives?
You said all this. What you said? I didn't catch that. The last phrase of it. How to come out.
How to come out of
Yes.
all these childhood traumas.
Ah, God. But that's the point where I was cut earlier on, because I'm so saying as one is striving to get in the functional society, because one has to find a role, you know. And I was saying to my friend the other day, success, you know, success is the word that you're seen as successful, you're seen as you made it, you're seen as, you know, but it depends. Like my brother earlier on talked about living in the rainforest, seeing the fish in the water, seeing the animals, seeing nature, and just watching and doing nothing. Even doing nothing was a great work. It's not passive, because we get involved in so many mechanisms. But do we really need to get involved in certain mechanism, you know, that are going to brainwash us, to speak crudely? Or are we going to stand aside and just not contribute? You see, because as a child, as I was saying when I was cut earlier on, one has to find the role they have. But I mean, then my other brother said, we joined the church, we joined this community, we joined the state, we joined the police, we get a job, we can also join the polluting, because there's many things. And when my sister said that we always what we have been, it's very difficult to answer in one short phrase to that question, because we have to function in a community where there's a set of standards. And this is why the other day when I wrote that we have scholars who studied about our history, where we're coming from. I can see those pyramids behind you. And that's what we were before. But we lost, for some reason, the link to our ancestors. And then I think we have to find the way to find that link back. That's why you said that the purpose of this meeting is exactly how to search for that answer of the question you're asking me, you know? So between ourselves, we're going to be bouncing between each other, question and answer, because we have to find the answer to this question you're asking me. Because we all have a sort of idea of what should be, but you see, like you put World United, it's like a community, it's like a country. I mean, there's the United States, there's France, there's England, there's Africa. I mean, when you put World United, it's such an ultimate way to bring us all together. Like my brother was saying that we all linked in reality. Even when somebody hates you, we don't even know if he hates you. He hates you because he hates himself. But the only way to come out of this, the children that are born have, like my sister said, a memory of the knowledge that we're all looking for and that we found through our whole life. They have it, it's just to reveal it. So when we educate them, are we suppressing that solution that they have already in them? Or are we just guiding them to speak out the truth that they know already? Because as my sister rightly said, we are always what we're looking for, we're looking to learn, you see? So when you say, what's the solution to that? It's a different form of, like, this platform will be one of the solutions. Because myself, I'm still looking to know and it's so positive for me to hear what everybody says, you know. My brother says he lives in the rainforest, in the jungle, without doing anything. But that's the greatest job I've ever heard somebody do. You know, I don't know if I'm talking sense, you know. But the solution in education, as they say, education, education, education. That's the solution to get the youth coming up, be guided, and keep the solution they have in themselves. That's the solution.
Yeah. Thank you, Ebga. Dikoba, thank you very much. So, Pierre Aucamp, I have a question for you. Based upon the discussions that were going on, you know, spiritual awakening is an inner journey which talks about doing nothing. How well we do nothing is dependent upon how well we can awaken inside. But when it comes to social reality, it is all about doing. It is not about being. Being is an inside journey. Doing is outside, related to social reality. So how can we club this doing nothing of inner world to doing something of outer world from the perspective of self-mastery? How to balance these two worlds, being world of inner things and doing world of outer reality? How do we balance all these things? How can we merge these two things from the perspective of self-mastery? What is your take on it?
I love the question. I just want to make sure you can hear me. I do really like that question. That's a topic that is often on my mind. So starting with self-mastery, and then the follow-up question on self-mastery is being, doing, inner world, outer world. So I'll tackle it in that order. Self-mastery, to me, my understanding of self-mastery is very simple. But like most things, not always easy to apply, just like your question just now about practicing and being a participant or being a practicer. Even when something is simple, it doesn't always mean it's easy to do or easy to apply. And with self-mastery, I feel very much the same way about it. Self-mastery is the simple ability to, in a moment, realize where I'm at, what I'm thinking, what my mind is doing. And in that moment of realizing what my mind is doing, ask myself the question, stop. Is this what I want to expand? Yes or no? Should I change direction? If in a moment that I am put under pressure, I can catch my thought process and go, wait, I would like to change this direction. Self-mastery is not more complicated than just that. Being able to, from moment to moment, be aware of where my mind is, where my inner world is, and change direction if I choose to. It's very, very simple, but not always easy to apply. It takes time, it takes practicing to get there. Yeah. You're speaking about the balance of being and doing. I love the topic, the balance of being and doing. There's a beautiful quote that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And to me, this beautiful quote speaks about that balance, the balance between being and doing. There is a space for me to accept the things that I cannot change, to be in a space of being and a space of non-action. But there is a space for me to have the courage to change the things that I can change, to take on those things that need to be taken on and make a change in the world around me. Where or how do we find the balance? Well, in this beautiful quote, the balance comes from wisdom, the wisdom to know the difference. Again, how do we practically apply this? How do I practically apply, finding the wisdom to know when to have non-action, when to just be, and when to have action, when to do. And I personally find that in surrender, in a space of surrender, in trying as much as I can to live my life in surrender. Surrender starts for me with meditation, because it's just such a beautiful, simple process to find a space of surrender. But to me, surrender always leads to action. That might sound like a contradiction. How does surrender, how does nothing lead to action? Surrender is a space in which we let the water settle. If I can live my life in surrender, it means I am allowing the pond, the water of the pond to settle. And when the water of the pond settles, I have clarity. And that clarity always shows me what to take action on. If I'm splashing in my pond, if I'm not in surrender, if I'm causing turmoil in the water, I have no clarity. I have no idea what to take action on. When I do take action, I tend to take action on the wrong things and waste my energy. In surrender, I find that the water clears, and when I have that clarity, I know where to take action. And that, Dr. Yugandhar, is what gives me the balance between being and doing.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Pierre Aucamp. Thank you very much. Excellent.
Thanks to you.
Clarity you have given about the inner outer world balance. You know, this reminds me of a saying of Grandmother Saibil League, an age-old spiritual master from the continent of Africa. She quotes like this: whatever we vividly imagine, sincerely act upon, will come to pass. Whatever we vividly imagine, sincerely act upon, will come to pass. So yeah, inaction inside, action outside, there has to be much more balance. So here we close this panel discussion of session 1 on day 1 of the World Parliament on Spirituality Africa chapter. So I request all the panelists here, MANDAZA, Meredith Beal, MAA TEJONAYEE, and Pierre Aucamp. So what would be your final statement, final one-line statement about self-mastery? I begin with MANDAZA, one-line statement about self-mastery to the audience who are listening to all of you world over.
Surrendering is it's a sacred law, allowing myself to go back into my mother's womb to be born again. Surrendering is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of progress. When the challenges are raining on me, I stand still, learn the language of the rains that are falling on me. I learn then to give myself over to my Creator, so that my Creator can recreate me and shine in the world. A wise person is that one who withdraws when the situation is explosive. During the withdrawing from the situation, a lot of good things are coming your way in a very mysterious and strange way. I would like again to say briefly, to be a practitioner. The best athlete in the world became the best athlete because of daily practice. The best musician of our time has become the best musician of our time through daily practice. People who meditate so powerfully every moment, praying for others requires practice. So for this topic we have this whole week, trying to bring people together and create a community that works side by side. We need to have daily rituals, daily practices. You must become the prayer yourself. So you don't have time to say, I'm waiting for Sunday or Saturday to go for prayer. When you have become a prayer that heals the world, you are every moment in prayer. Therefore, practice comes in. This awareness thing we are talking about needs constant practice and constant prayer. In the future, the world of Parliament, we might have it on a daily basis. It is crucial. Listen to the messages that the world of Parliament is bringing to the world. It has become a prayer. We need to practice that prayer every day. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mandaza. Thank you for your wonderful wisdom. So what is your take-home message, Meredith Beal, about self-mastery?
Self-mastery. Be yourself. Listen to yourself. Trust yourself. Embrace your true self.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Meredith. Have a nice vacation with your family. So, Edgar, do you have a final message to the audience who are listening to you? Pierre Aucamp, do you have any final message about self-mastery, the take-home message?
Can you hear me? I was muted.
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, man, I'm so grateful to be part of this. It's like my brother was talking about being born. I'm born again today. And it's funny because when it's not funny, but it's serious. But he said, he talked about practice. I played the saxophone, and it's so true. I mean, you have to practice you get a peak when you practice. If you stop practicing, you feel it straight away. When you stop practicing, you know it yourself. Or when you play, people will notice it also that you didn't practice. So you can't lie about that. You know, it's like it's the truth itself. And what I was thinking, to be brief, I had a postcard when I was in the university. It said, it's from Buddha. It said, the only constant is change. You know, because there's consistency into doing things, and we always try to renew ourselves, to have new inspiration. So that's the only thing constant that we have to do, is to just renew ourselves and become different, or get deeper into what we're thinking about, you know. And there's so many things. I think it's difficult to say it in one word, but constance is the only thing that we have to do to change.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dikoba. Please stay tuned. So I request Pierre Aucamp, your final message about self-mastery.
If there is any part of yourself, the self that you are, if there is any part of you that you are trying to reject, if there is any part of yourself that you are trying to abandon, you will not be whole. And in the absence of wholeness, every action you take will be chasing wholeness, trying to fill a hole. So in terms of self-mastery, start with wholeness. Otherwise, all the action is wasted energy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, wonderful speakers of the day, the first session. began with a great loud energy, a converged energy of consciousness. Thank you, Mandaza Augustine. Thank you, Meredith Beal. Thank you, MAA TEJONAYEE. Thank you, Egba Dikoba. Thank you, Pierre Aucamp. Thanks a lot. Last line message of MAA TEJONAYEE. Would you like to give your last line message? Please.
Yes, I would love to. Self-mastery.
Yep.
I want to put it in a few words. Know the self. Know the self. Of course, you can only master what you know. And so you need to reconnect. Is reconnection, constant reconnection, and settle it into what you are, what I am, the I am. So, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. That is knowing the self. Self-mastery is there because you know yourself. So, practice, open the chakras, have your third eye open, decalcify it. Okay, do the right things in order to do so, and be one with nature. And then keep on growing. The self will be mastered. Stay in bliss.
Thank you.
Divine
Thank you.
love and light. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you all panelists.